Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. You're here with Grey Board Gamer and my 4-player solo playthrough of Eldritch Horror. Things didn't go so well last turn, but this turn we're hoping to turn things around. We're hoping to at least get one of these clues from a research encounter so we can solve our very first mystery and be on our way to stopping Azathoth from devouring the world. We're not going to lose faith in Norman Withers again, or yet, so we're going to let him maintain this lead investigator. One bad turn doesn't really seem to be necessary to take that away from him. Now he's already in London, where there is a clue, so we're going to leave him there. But the first thing I want to do is I want to prepare for travel in case we need to move far. He only has ship routes around him, so he'll gain a ship ticket for use later on. And I'm going to have him rest because he is down to 5 sanity and 5 health. His health is maxed, but his sanity is down too. So I will heal him 1 sanity, put him back up to 6, and when he heals, when you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die. On a 5 or a 6, discard this card. So we're going to try and get rid of our amnesia madness condition by rolling a 5 or 6 on a single die. Norman needs a 5 or a 6 to discard his amnesia condition, and he rolls a 5. That's a great start to the turn. And Norman's amnesia is no more, so he now remembers everything that happened. Let me try and get the camera to focus here. There we go. He now remembers everything that happened and is no longer lacking in memories. Akachi's here on this sea space with a clue token on it, so I don't want to move her away from there. She's on a sea space and she's fully healthy, but she couldn't rest there anyway. Well, she could rest there because there's no monsters on her space. She can't test her influence to try and require assets from the reserve because she's not on a city space. The only action I can really do is the action on her player card that allows her to look at the top 2 gates and put 1 on top and 1 on the bottom. And we have a red gate from Sydney and a green gate in San Francisco. I'm going to place the green gate on top and the red gate on the bottom. And the reason I did that is with Azathoth, the green gate has the Eldritch tokens on it. So when the Omen track gets to there, it doesn't matter if there's a green gate out. It's a matter of how many Eldritch tokens on there is what advances the Doom track according to Azathoth's card. Also, well, there is no also. That's the only reasoning I had behind it. That's going to end her action phase. There's nothing else she can do right now. Let's take a look at Jim Culver. Jim is here next to the Hound of Tindalos, and I want to get him away from there. I'm thinking about sending him over here to San Francisco because his observation is only 2 and there's a chance he could improve it here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him 1 space, and then I'm going to use his train ticket to get him into San Francisco, and that no, maybe I changed my mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move to San Francisco, then use my train ticket to move to where this clue token is at, which is also a city space. And that means I'll have more chances of successfully finishing a research encounter if I have more investigators on spaces with clue tokens. Jim has taken some some damage here. So hey, in the city space, I am going to rest him. Gain back 1 health and 1 sanity. That'll put his sanity up to 4 and his health up to 5. Mark Harrigan is here in Rome with a gate and a star spawn. Star spawn is a tough creature to deal with, but Mark does have kerosene that can give him a +5 during a combat encounter, which is what we're going to use in order to go after that star spawn. Also, Mark has a special ability that we can use as an action where he and a monster on his space each lose 1 health. I'm going to go ahead and do that. That way the star spawn is a little easier to deal with. So Mark will lose 1 health and the star spawn will take 1 damage. And now for his second action, I'm going to have him prepare for travel. He has a rail ticket. He can get a rail ticket or a sea ticket, depending on where I'm going to want him to move to next. I think I will get a sea ticket. Let's get a ship ticket. Now, most actions you can't perform if there's a monster in your space, but preparing for travel is one that you are allowed to do if there's still a monster in your space. That's all of the player actions for the action phase. Now we'll move on to the encounter phase and see what happens to our investigators. We'll start up here with Norman. Get his research encounter. And he is on a city space. You attend a reading by Edward Pickman Derby from his book Azathoth and Other Horrors. Well, that's pretty good. That's who we're going to stop and ask him about the occult. So we're going to have to do an influence test with Norman, which kind of sucks because Norman only has an influence of 1. Norman's going to talk to Edward Pickman Derby. Let's see how effective Norman is. Very effective. A 6. Excellent. If you pass, gain this clue. Well, we have another clue. And what we will do is immediately gain that clue. And we'll take this clue, place it on our mystery, which means that our occult research is complete because we have 4 clues, and at the end of the Mythos phase, if there are clues on this card equal to investigators, solve this mystery. So we'll be able to solve this mystery hopefully at the end of the Mythos phase, as long as nothing ridiculous happens to us. That was a great turn by Norman. Next we have Akachi, who's also on a space with a clue. And she is on a sea space. You overhear the navigator say that the stars are not as they should be. The ship is utterly lost. You believe you understand the significance of the new alignment of the stars. Well, she believes she understands it. She has an influence of 2. I'm sorry, that was a lore check. She has a lore of 3. That's slightly better. Let's see how well she does understand it. Akachi thinks she knows the stars and what's going on. Does she know? She does. We have a success. If you pass, gain this clue and 1 additional clue. Well, that's excellent also. So we're not just going to gain the clue on her space, but we will also gain one additional clue for Kachi. Will Jim keep the luck rolling? Jim is here in America on a city space and also on a clue. The university allows you to use its telescope to search for signs of a green comet. So he's going to do an observation check, -1, which is going to be a tough one. Jim has an observation of 2. Jim has an observation of 2, but it's at a -1 penalty because it's not easy to find stuff through a telescope, especially a comet. Can Jim find that green comet? No, he's not able to find it. Jim wasn't able to find that green comet, so he failed. You find nothing. Looking through the endless depth of space, become delayed. Jim becomes delayed, which means he will not get to take actions next turn, and he'll just be able to stand back up. Mark is doing battle with this star spawn in Rome, a star spawn that's injured already, which is a bonus to us. First thing we have to do is the will test. He's at a disadvantage of -1, and we need to try and get at least a 3 or higher to avoid losing any sanity. We've got the right investigator for this task because Mark also has that modifier to his will, so he's going to be going in there with a will of 5. Mark is fighting the star spawn with the will of 5, but it's a -1 modifier, so he gets 4. Hopefully we can stop some of that sanity from being taken away. 2 successes. Mark got 2 successes. The star spawn will test is a 3, so Mark is going to receive 1 damage to his sanity and take him down to only having 2 left. So we're getting dangerously close there for Mark. Next, we got the combat check, which with the star spawn is at a -3, which is really tough. But we're going to use our kerosene to give us a +5 to our strength, which is already 4. Mark has a base strength of 4, and we discarded the kerosene to give us an additional 5. The star spawn will take 3 away, leaving us with 6 combat die to check with. Oof, that was terrible. We only got 1 success, causing 1 more damage to that star spawn. That did not go well. We only got 1. It's got an attack of 3. The difference is 2. So Mark is going to lose 2 health and be down to 5. The star spawn is placed back in Rome. It's wounded, but still it's got a lot of power. It still has 3 more health before it's gone. That's the end of our encounters phase. We'll get our Mythos card and see what happens to us. Ooh, looks like we're in luck with this one. We're going to spawn 2 clues. So let's spawn 2 clues. The first will be in the Himalayas. And the second will go in Tunguska. Well, we got to spawn 2 clues. Let's see what's going on here. At the market, you learn that another group of men have been asking about the same lost temple. You hope to get there first. Secrets of the past. An ongoing rumor. Investigators cannot resolve expedition encounters. As an encounter, an investigator on the active expedition space may attempt to uncover secrets lost to time and history. So we would do an observation check to see if we were able to do so. Okay. Now why would we want to worry about that? So if we pass, we can spend clues. So there is a reckoning effect on this. Search the expedition encounter deck for each card corresponding to the active expedition and return those cards to the game box. Then, if the expedition encounter deck is empty, investigators lose the game. Well, now that explains why we want to go ahead and take care of this. Okay, so this is going to be an active Mythos card. Now I'll place it over here on the board so we don't forget about it. That's not devastating right now, but it can be if we get enough reckoning actions to occur that could end the game for us without the doom track getting down or anything else going on. So we're going to have to get to this expedition marker, then spend 2 clues. So I'm going to need somebody that's good with observation, which is Norman, and they have to have clues on them equal to half of the investigator. So it's going to have 2 clues with them. The person that's going there has to have the 2 clues. So I may have to send somebody else because Norman has no clues right now. Not a terrible turn for us overall, but we did gain enough to solve this mystery. So this mystery, our very first one, has been solved, and we will draw a new mystery. We'll draw our new mystery, which we need to solve 3 of to win. The Seed of the Daemon Sultan. A strange green comet. That's probably the same one that Jim was looking for. Has fallen from the sky. Even after the impact, the meteorite continues to slowly burrow itself deeper into the earth. When this card enters play, place the mystery token on Tunguska. So the mystery token, we'll place that on Tunguska. First we'll get the camera to focus. There we go. So mystery tokens up here along with that clue token. As an encounter, an investigator on Tunguska may attempt to search for signs of the impact in the dead forest. Again, we would need to do an observation check. And if we pass, he discovers a strange green meteorite. He may spend 2 clues to place 1 Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to half, solve this mystery. So we're going to need to put 2 Eldritch tokens on this card, but we need to make it to Tunguska, make an observation test, successful, and have 2 clues to spend at that time. So there's a lot of circumstances that need to line up. Luckily we only have to do it 2 times, but that's not going to be easy to do that 2 times. That's the end of our turn. I really appreciate you joining me. Please see what happens in the next video and the next turn, and see if our investigators are able to make any progress towards solving our next mystery, and also trying to get rid of the Secrets of the Past Mythos card in play before it ends the game prematurely for us. Hope to see you there.